but we finally got an interaction between Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm. And I personally
your homework was to watch that.
Yes, I thought it was an excellent segment. I really did. I thought it was worth it. I thought it was worth the wait because these two haven't crossed paths at all in Mercedes' time in AEW. And Toni Storm says that. You haven't crossed my path. We haven't crossed paths yet. So we got the answers off the rip from that. And they talked about they building this up because I think this might even be the first time, that they even they're going one-on-one because in WWE, if they went one-on-one, it was pretty much a throwaway. But I don't think they even had that.
I don't think they did.
I know they teamed up at Survivor Series and had a couple of
5-on-5.
It was a 5-on-5, and like Toni Storm, she had a thing with Charlotte that Sasha was hyping her up.
I could be wrong, but I feel like Toni Storm of the Horsewoman, I think she only faced Charlotte in a one-on-one match.
I think so too, because she had a bit of a strange time on the main roster. Because after the Charlotte thing, she's out for the most part. So, but I thought this promo was excellent. I thought it did an excellent job building up these two and why they haven't touched and the importance of it for Mercedes and Toni Storm saying that she only needs that one belt. I thought they did an amazing job, and I think this should main event. I'm not sure. I've not watched AEW much in the last few months, but if I had to put my money on it, I think this should main event. And I think Mercedes has done a great job. I think she's kind of come back down to earth a little bit. I don't see as much Mercedes hate as we saw when she debuted last year. I think a lot of the nonsense is done. I think she kind of like found herself within the company. The stuff with Camille, that was a flop. That didn't work out. We all know the Britt Baker feud for most people was disappointed. And I think one thing that kind of like reeled people back in was the fun feud that she had with Harley Cameron, with Minnie Monet, and things like that. So
plus those matches delivered.
That too. Yeah. The matches delivered too. I still have not watched the match with Athena that you were hyping up before we were recording. I remember that night.
I'll tell you what, and I loved Sasha Banks, but just the whole mystique with this character since she's been in AEW, I've not been a fan. I don't remember a single match. I remember the Britt Baker match being lack thereof. It wasn't what we hoped for. Besides that, any of her matches, I either didn't care to watch, I didn't pay attention, I fast forward, I didn't enjoy it. But that match with Athena, that was a month and a half ago. I'm going to be talking about that at the end of the year when it comes to match of the year.
Yeah, I think she's come back and found herself because I think she's been really the matches weren't the problem. It was the character work. It was just like, okay, you're doing a little too much. But I think she's come back now that everything's going. The things that they tried, they didn't work. They kind of went back to the basics. And I said, I think the Harley Cameron stuff really brought fun out of her. Even like the tag team, I think they had a tag team match on Collision or something, and Harley's has Minnie Monet and she's singing the song, and you can see Mercedes just like she's kind of like bop going along with it, but she's not. She's trying to show some fun, trying to show some personality a little bit.
So the one thing, and I don't want to knock the roster for it, but it's just been one of the things since Mercedes been there, and especially since she's been there. Well, never mind, her first match, she won the TBS title. There really hasn't been someone where you're like, they're going to probably beat her for the belt. I haven't felt that way one time. So they haven't built no one up to make you think she could potentially lose the championship. Then maybe Harley Cameron, just because it was in her hometown, that feel good, she was getting the buzz, she was getting over. So now Toni's been enjoyable from day one of her signing in AEW. And then once she turned this timeless character, she's been on fire. She's arguably been carrying the company in some ways, not just the women's division, the whole damn company. Everything she's done has been must-see. So when you get these two pillars, and the first time we're going to get, the world champion versus the mid-card champion, have the TBS champion versus the women's champion, it's going to be must-see. It's a big deal. And it's, my early prediction is Toni Storm is going to be the first person to beat Mercedes in a one-on-one match in AEW.
Yeah, at this point, I'm with you on that. I agree. And since AEW's been around, the whole belt collector thing has it's not special. anymore. Like I'm sure you remember the iconic picture of Ultimo Dragon in like the wrestling books.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, that you would see that picture of him holding the belt. But the whole belt player thing has been overdone, especially since AEW's been around because all the belts and all the relationships, etc. But this right here, I'm fine with because they're putting the importance of Mercedes being all these other companies' champions, and then the one belt that she doesn't have is what Toni has, and she's after that. So Mercedes is carrying all those titles around, giving them some kind of value, and now they're not as value. Go ahead.
My minor disagreement with that is I do feel like now again, I feel like those belts or Kenny did more for those belts when Kenny had them all. And then it didn't necessarily help the company, but he was on those shows on AEW defending AAA's belts, TNA's 2 belts at once, defending the AEW title. FTR, when they had the 3 tag titles, they were out there, they would defend the AAA, the Ring of Honor, the New Japan. Mercedes, at the time, I'm like, okay, she's a TBS champion, and she's got this New Japan belt. And then the AAA and I don't even know the other belt. I'm a belt mark. I don't even know the 4th belt she has. So she lost New Japan's belt. She had 3 belts for a week, and then now she's back to 4 belts because she has the Owen Hart belt.
Yeah, maybe I should have rephrased what I said. So basically, her having all those belts, it kind of means more to the story instead of just having.
Especially because of Tony's line. Tony's line was dope. Like you mentioned.
Exactly, because Kenny and whoever the hell, they just walk around with the belts. Like Mercedes is making it look like, look, I need that. So I think this is going to be excellent. I'm looking forward to it. And I've not said that in a long time about anything about AEW. And Toni Storm is the one thing that Tony Khan hasn't done wrong. So I believe in this. I'm all in on this, no pun intended. And I'm looking forward to it as well because those two got very, very close last night.
I foresee myself, and it'll be the first time in 2 years that I buy an AEW pay-per-view. I see myself buying it, or I'll be somewhere that's playing it. But I've streamed a lot of them. Shout out to Prep over the past 2 years. I went to 1 or 2 viewing parties at Suplex. But yeah, this All In should be big. I mean, personally, and I don't got a lot to go into on AEW, but I do look forward to. I guess Hangman is supposed to be the man. I'm like I mentioned last week. I'm happy he was he won the Owen. He's going to be the one to challenge Moxley, and Moxley with his worst AEW championship reign thus far, it's needed to come to an end for some time. And if Hanger's the man to do it, we've loved Hangman since day one, so I'm looking forward to it.
I forgot Mox was even champion.
Well, it's because he won the belt in October, and after he won it, it's been sitting in a briefcase since.
Okay, so that explains all the renders of him without the belt.
Yeah. So, there's that issue, and then the beginning of Fyter Fest, or at the beginning of Fyter Fest, Kenny's celebrating because at the end of Dynamite, he retained his AEW International Championship in a 4-way. One thing that was real annoying to me when, the last pay-per-view, they had that Anarchy in the arena match. Well, all right, you got Kenny, you got Moxley on one side with the heels, and he's got the world title. And then you got on the babyface side, you got some of the guys from